Hello, everybody. Smithel here again with O3 Drop. It is late Sunday night. I am recording just a real quick video because obviously today at the Calling Portland, it was spoiled. The two new hero cards that go along, or the text, I guess, that goes along with the heroes that were spoiled. So we knew Cindra and Fang were coming, but obviously we had no clue what they were. Now, I think everybody kind of hypothesized that what we were going to be getting was going to be daggers or something that was dagger focused, and it certainly seems that we are right. So if you do not have flick knives, now would be the time to get it, because I think we're going to be seeing a lot. So let's talk a little bit about each of the heroes here. Read the text on the card, and then maybe go over a little bit about my thoughts on them. Certainly, if you have different thoughts or opinions, I'd love to hear what they are. Put them in the comments below. Hit us up on Blue Sky. However you want to let us know. Certainly, I'd love to get those thoughts. Anyway, so first here, let's talk about Cindra. Full name Cindra Drakai of Retribution, 40 health, 4 intellect. Cindra reads, there's two parts. First, it says whenever you hit a marked hero, create a fealty token. And then at the bottom half, it says once per turn instant, pay 3 resources. Equipped up to 2 Draconic Daggers from your graveyard. This costs 1 resource less to activate for each Draconic chain link you control. So this, I think, is the first time really that we see in a big focus is dagger recursion. So we, at least locally in an O3 drop, we all kind of assumed that there was going to be some sort of throwing dagger mechanic. I mean, it certainly looks like that based on her art. I personally didn't sit there and think that it was going to be a kind of like a recursion thing. In my head, I kind of thought it was going to be like creating ephemeral type daggers, things that were going to be created, put into your equipment slot temporarily, and then be kind of flicked or thrown around that way. So this, is very much giving big five vibes to me. So, where Fi is basically, for every Draconic chain link, his ability costs less. You're able to get a Phoenix Flame from the graveyard, put it into your hand and go. This feels very similar, except for, now we're going to have to be actively destroying and equipping these daggers. How we're going to do that, obviously, is going to be a little bit suspect. We need to kind of figure out something to do. It's kind of interesting, too, of wondering what those daggers are going to be. There are currently cards that do exist, such as Plunge, things like that, that basically says, hey, look, when this hits, your next dagger attack gets +1. But the downside to that being is obviously that's not a Draconic card, so it doesn't really help you recur a dagger in any type of or any shape, but it is something that kind of applies to it. I mean, we see a lot of these kind of things. We see things like stab wound potentially coming back. So it's Assassin Ninja, where it says, hey, look, if it hits a hero, they lose X life, where X is the number of times a dagger has hit this combat chain. So what's kind of nice is maybe we're going to have ways for you to kind of dagger, or draconic, pull them back, get the daggers back from your graveyard, potentially swing with them again, and then throw in something like stab wound or something like that to kind of end it. So yeah, definitely kind of seems real interesting. I mean, this now also kind of makes sense for things such as Blood Runs Deep, that we got a little bit of a spoiler from, or previously. That one says, hey, look, it costs 1 resource less to play for each iconic chain link. Obviously, this kind of plays into Cindra's feeling as well. And it says when this attacks a hero, each dagger you control deals 1 damage to them. If a damage is dealt this way, the dagger has hit, destroy the daggers. So now, we talked about this a little bit on the podcast a couple weeks back. It basically seems like, hey, you can attack. When attack, each dagger you control deals 1. You basically then destroy those daggers, and then you recur those daggers through Cindra's ability, because it says equip up to 2 daggers from your graveyard, and then go from there. So I think there's going to be a lot of back and forth and a lot of interactions that we're going to have. I'm really interested to see what these Draconic cards are going to come up with. Also, I'm interested to see where the fealty tokens come into play for her. So when we talk about Fang here very shortly, he has a much more straightforward need for these fealty tokens. Her not so much. in her hero text, but I'm really interested because there's certainly going to be some payoff or something that we're going to be seeing as the time comes. I mentioned at the top of this too. Obviously, flick knives. If you don't have one or haven't picked one up, whenever we kind of all assumed it was daggers, now's going to be the time. I mean, you're just going to be able to recur, these daggers very, very easily. So basically, you're just going to attack, flick knife, do maybe another draconic attack, bring back your knives, knife. You know what I mean? Or dagger. I guess technically. So flick knives, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of value. Before it was kind of just like, I'll put it on here. Worst case scenario, whenever I get them down to like 1 or 2 health, we throw away the daggers, and primarily run by assassins. I can't really ever think of a time that Ninja was running flick knives. I don't think it made sense. But this is definitely going to be something that I think is very, 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 very uh, going to be widely seen. So again, as of time recording, it was about $50. I'm going to be real interested by the time this video gets out to see where it sits. But if you do not have one, pick up a flick knives if you're interested in Cindra at all. I think it is going to be, very critical. We also got things like Hurl that have existed already that says, hey, look, when you play this, you may pay one when you do this deal. This attack, when this attacks, target dagger you control deals 1 damage to target hero. If damage is dealt this way, daggers hit, destroy the dagger. So more, throw daggers, destroy daggers, bring daggers back. What's interesting to me is whenever, I think James White, I forget where he said this recently. He says, hey, look, when they, plan sets, it's about 15 months out that they know what they're doing or what they're going to be start working on. It kind of coincides a lot with Outsiders, at least timing wise. I can't remember the exact date, but it feels like it's been about that long, to the point where we can sit there and say, I feel like Outsiders was coming up and they were like, okay, look, how do we build more daggers? What do we do with that? So it's really interesting the direction that they came in with this. Anyway, Cindra, I think, is probably going to be the more powerful, again, based on what we know today. Certainly, we haven't seen a lot of the set. They said that they're not going to be showing a lot of the core cards, the commons, the rares, things like that, until the world premiere. So we're not going to have a real perfect idea of what it is. But face value, Cindra seems to be the more powerful of the two, which breaks my heart because I very much love Warrior, and regardless of power, I'm going to be playing a ton of Fang. So anyway, Fang, hero number 2 that kind of we got the details on. Fang Drakive Blades. Whenever you hit a marked hero, create a fealty token. So same first half as Cindra, which is interesting. But this one, the second half of his hero text is certainly more applicable to the fealty tokens, where it says if you control 3 or more fealty tokens, dagger attacks cost you 1 less to activate. So where Cindra, it seems like it's going to be throwing daggers left and right and recurring them, this is more or less going to be about trying to create and generate these fealty tokens and keep them on the board without letting them, find a way to be destroyed or find a way to go away. So I mean, the fealty tokens, in case aren't familiar, because certainly I had to relook up what they are, is it is a token that is going to be new to the hunted. And what the fealty token says is it is an aura, and it says instant destroy. Oh, yeah, that's right. Instant destroy this next card you play is draconic at the beginning of your end phase. If you haven't created a fealty token or played a draconic card this turn, destroy it. So what's nice about these fealty tokens is basically saying we're going to be finding a way to generate them as Fang. Going to want to have 3 of them under our possession. Now our daggers are going to cost 1 less. I assume the daggers are going to cost 1 initially to make them free. Having a dagger that costs 2 would certainly be rough. But what's also interesting is if we do have a whole bunch of these, we are going to be able to destroy them to kind of make things draconic, and hopefully stick around. If I'm understanding the rules right, if you make something draconic and then you play it, is it playing a draconic card? I don't know. I'm going to have to go back and read the rules on that. But it seems like there may be ways for us to implement a little bit less draconic cards as long as we keep the fealty generation and things up. Where this seems interesting to me is we're going to be seeing some things that I think that maybe we didn't see a lot of play before. generally speaking, warriors, you don't play things like Visit the Imperial Forge often. I think that as we get into a lot more classes and a lot more things that rely upon armor, and we have things like Jarl coming out, piercing may not be a bad idea. A lot of heroes are going to start having a fridge, I think, and being able to stop that is good. I certainly, and obviously, we haven't seen anything about Arachne right now, but I certainly think that we're going to be seeing a little bit more of that assassin kind of buyback armor. So having something like Visit the Imperial Forge may be interesting. Precision press, obviously, we've seen that. That's going to continue to stay around. We do know some of the new cards, such as Power Stance. Go again at the start of your turn, destroy this, and your next dagger gets +1. So basically, it's an aura that, preps for the next time. So if we think we're going to have the fealty, we're going to be able to swing in for +1s for free. We also have things like agility stance, starters turn destroys, your dagger attacks get go again. So basically, it seems like again creating a lot of auras on the field, creating a lot of fealty tokens, and then coming in for these explosive turns. So because it has like this micromanagement type of game, uh, Fang to me feels a lot like Bolton. I think we're going to have a lot of instances of managing something that isn't necessarily the combat chain deck size, where Bolton manages things like Soul. Uh, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of that. I think it's going to be a lot of setup turn, explosive turn, setup turn, explosive turn. We have agility stance. We talked about that. We talked about power stance. We have flurry stance as well, where it's saying, hey, look, similar to the other ones where it's, hey, +1 or go again. Flurry stance allows you to basically attack an additional time with them. So it's one of those things of saying, like, hey, swing for free, swing for free, swing for free, swing for free. 4 times is pretty good. I assume the dagger is going to be coming in for maybe 2, is my guess, just based upon some of the other daggers that we have. Obviously, Quicksilver Dagger is going to come in for 1 initially, but I don't know if we're going to pay that. I think we're going to be seeing things that are going to be coming in for 2. Obviously, that's just my guess. That's just, what I think it would make sense to be. Because if not, why would you want to play it over something like a Kasai? Craig, whenever we were talking about this, he just said, hey, this feels like a lot of hoops to jump through just to be a worse Kasai. And I get that mentality. Um, I'm hoping this is going to be a lot more like the Bolton game, where it's going to be, hey, you're going to have a turn of setup and attack actions, and then you're going to have a turn of weapons. The question is it going to be something like a combo Bolton, where you can play like certain dagger kind of combo kind of stance, or are we going to have something where you're going to be playing a lot of attack actions and then just finishing up with weapons? Um, like I said, I think Cindra wants to destroy her daggers. I don't think Fang wants to destroy his. So they're going to want to kind of stick around. You're just going to want to find as many ways as you can to swing them for free. Now, the only thing that is interesting to me is because of agility stance, I don't think his dagger is going to have natural go again built into them, uh, which also kind of makes sense. A lot of the warrior weapons don't. A lot of them, you have to find a way to give it go again, whether it be a reaction or something like that. So to me, my guess is going to be, setup turn, explosive turn, setup turn, explosive turn. We still have a lot that we have to figure out and see. So again, I know it's a lot of just guessing and a lot of things like that, but we did just kind of want to get our thoughts out there. Either way, we're excited. We want to know, who are you the most excited for out of these 2 heroes, or are you still just waiting on the Arachne side? Again, Craig, very much in on Cindra. Brice, I haven't had a chance to talk to too much tonight about it. I know he's busy, but my guess is Fang as well. Me, I'm also going to probably be Fang and Arachne. But let us know in the comments. Let us know your thoughts. Again, if you don't already subscribe, we greatly appreciate it. Stick with us as we start seeing more cards and we get more spoilers coming out and being revealed over the next couple of days. I think they said December 6th is the beginning of the Chaos launcher season. And then December 17th is when it all kind of starts really kicking off. But stick with us around then. Certainly, we'll give you more as we hear more. But as always, thanks for tuning in. This was a real quick video. I appreciate you sticking with us, and we'll talk to you later. Have a good one, guys.